Hello class, welcome back to your online class. So in our previous video we were discussing about the different process by the help of which absorption of the water by the roots, absorption of water and minerals by the roots takes place. So we have already discussed about osmosis and diffusion. There osmosis and diffusion are referred to as passive transport, because there you do not utilize any energy. The process takes place simultaneously without the use of any energy. Okay, but we have discussed that your cell sap, that is a mixture of water and minerals in a root hairs, it consists of more minerals and less water. So how will the absorption of the mineral takes place? Because already the amount of mineral is more in a root cells of a root hair as compared to the outside soil. Okay, so there the absorption takes place by active transport. Active transport, here you utilize energy because you are drawing or taking the content from a lower concentration to the higher concentration. That's why you utilize energy here. Okay, now as we know that root hairs are semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means it does not allow everything to enter. So similarly, root hair do not allow the ions of nitrites, sulfates, potassium, zinc or manganese to enter. Okay, because the content of minerals or solute inside the root hair is already more than that of a surrounding soil. So here you utilize energy in order to take these minerals into this root hair. Okay, so this process is referred to as your active transport. Now that is done in order to maintain your osmotic pressure. Okay, in order to maintain the osmotic pressure, the nature has made the root hairs or the cells self-contained in such a manner that the minerals present inside is more than that of outside, so that osmosis also can osmosis, which is the main process by the help of which absorption of the water from the soil takes place, it can take place easily. Okay, because already the amount of solute inside the cell sap is more, that means less amount of water, so water from the soil will enter by the process of osmosis. In order to enable that, nature has made it in such a manner that your solute content is already more. So for absorption of the mineral you use active transport. Here you utilize energy. Okay, so next we will be discussing about these two terms, what is turgidity and what is flaccidity. Okay, now as we know that your cells of the root hairs are always exposed to the water in the surrounding soil. So what will happen, since inside you have a less amount of water as compared to outside, so simultaneous movement of the water takes place, right? So continuous movement of the water will lead to a condition where your root hairs will not be able to receive any water. Okay, further receiving will lead to bursting of the cell. So that state when your root hairs are not, cells of your root hairs are not able to receive any water is known as turgid. Okay, and the process is referred to as turgidity. Okay, there your root hairs are no more able to receive any kind of water. Further receiving would lead to bursting of the cell. We have already discussed what is a turgid state, right? So when a cell is in a turgid state or turgidity, what happens is, since cell is in a fully extended state, so your cell wall will be exerting certain pressure towards the contents that cytoplasm or all the contents that is present inside the cell, that is referred to as your wall pressure. Okay, the pressure exerted by the cell wall towards the inner content of the cell is referred to as a wall pressure. So in order to counteract that wall pressure, due to that wall pressure, whatever the contents are there inside the cell, it will be centralized. Okay, they will move centrally. So in order to counteract that wall pressure, even that cell contains will be exerting certain pressure towards the cell wall. Now that is referred to as your turgor pressure. Okay. Now if this wall pressure and turgor pressure are balanced, then a cell will be at a normal state, that is turgid state, balanced state. But if wall pressure or turgor pressure is not balanced, if turgor pressure is more than that of a wall pressure, then that will lead to the rupture of the wall, rupture of the cell. Okay. So basically that's the reason behind the rupture of sometimes the fruits and all, fruits or seeds. That's because your turgor pressure was more than that of a wall pressure. Okay, I hope you understood what is turgid, what is turgidity, what is turgor pressure, and what is wall pressure. What is turgid? It's a state in which your cell will no more be able to receive any water. Further receiving would lead to rupture of the cell wall. Okay, and what is wall pressure? Wall pressure, whenever the cell is in a turgid state, your cell wall exerts a pressure towards the inner content of a cell, that's known as wall pressure. In order to counteract that, your cell contents also exert certain pressure towards the cell wall, that is referred to as a turgor pressure. Now if your wall pressure and turgor pressure are balanced, then your cells will be in a turgid state. But if your wall pressure or your turgor pressure is more than that of a wall pressure, then that will lead to the rupturing of a cell. Okay, now next we will be discussing about flaccidity, or also referred to as plasmolysis. Next we will be discussing about plasmolysis. Plasmolysis is opposite to that of turgidity or turgidity. Plasmolysis is also referred to as a flaccidity. Okay, for example, if you take a cell, plant cell, and then if you keep it in a fresh water, it will be in a turgid state. It is represented by your this. If you see the diagram, it is represented by C. Okay, your cell was first placed in a fresh water, so your cell retained its turgidity. Okay, but if your cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, you know what is hypotonic solution, right? Hypotonic means outside environment has more amount of your solute as compared to the inside the cell. So what will happen in case of in this condition we have discussed earlier too, right? What happens? The water contained from inside the cell is going to move out into the environment, surrounding environment where the water content was less. So that is represented by your figure D to F. So you can see here when D, E and F, these are the sequence of the cells when they were placed in a hypotonic solution. What happened was your cell plasma membrane, your vacuolar membrane, okay, all those started shrinking because there was a loss of water from inside the cell to the surrounding environment. So here in figure A, you can see the cell has completely shrunk. The plasma membrane has completely descended itself from the cell wall and it has already shrunk. So this stage is known as this process condition is known as plasmolysis. Okay, when the complete shrinkage of the cell takes place whenever the cell is placed in a hypotonic solution. Now this is also referred to as a flaccidity, and the state in which this cell is, it is referred to as flaccid. Okay, now if you keep back this plasmolyzed cell back into the fresh water, again it will gain its turgidity. I hope you understood what is plasmolysis and what is turgidity properly. Generally they ask you to write the difference between two, or they'll ask you this, they'll give you this figure and they'll ask you why to label the turgid state and plasmolyzed state. Okay, plasmolysis and flaccidity is similar. Okay, same. So where you should be able to differentiate between what is turgidity and plasmolysis. In our next class we will be discussing in detail about how is turgidity helpful to plants. Okay, for example, few, let's discuss now few. For example, in a hot summer day, you might have seen a wilting of the plants, right? Why does that happen? Because the rate of transpiration was more than that of absorption by the roots. So cells could not maintain its turgid state, because of which the drooping or wilting of the leaves took place. So similarly, we will be discussing the other role of the turgid state. Turgidity, here you could see that it is maintaining the rigidity of a cell tissue. So similarly, we will discuss the other useful uses of a turgidity in our next class. For your home task could be to go through this diagram that's given in your book properly, and you should be able to reason out, and then difference between the turgidity, plasmolysis, okay, and what is flaccidity, what is flacid state, what is turgid state, what will happen if the wall pressure is more than the trigger pressure, okay. So you will be going through all those from your book.